Hey there everyone, Simon here. We are in Assassin's Creed Revelations and we are looking at architecture. So today, I think we should look at the Topkapi Palace. I think it's pronounced Topkapi. I don't know how to spell it. Alright, let's go into the database and see what the game has to say about the palace. Locations, Constantinople. Forum, no. Where is it? Arsenal, no. Forum of the Ox. Alright, eventually we'll find it. Eventually we will find the palace. Okay, there we go. Topkapi Palace. In the dwindling years of the Byzantine Empire, many of the once great imperial palaces lay in ruins, shattered by centuries of fighting and economic collapse. Following the Ottoman conquest, Mehmed II ignored all previously developed imperial sites in favor of a strategically secure spot atop First Hill, at the very tip of the peninsula. So if you remember from the previous video, the First Hill had cliffs facing the ocean, and it was kind of like the last bastion of the peninsula. So it's quite difficult to attack this place. So he put the palace there at the very end of the peninsula. Construction on the Sultan's new palace, called Yenisarayi or New Palace initially, began in 1459 and would conclude almost 10 years later. Although every subsequent sultan would continue to add to the complex, Topkapi would see some of its greatest expansions under the 50-year reign of Suleiman the Magnificent. For many centuries thereafter, Topkapi Palace served as the centerpiece of the Sultan's power, and contained everything he needed to comfortably oversee his empire. The harem for raising and educating the wives of future royalty, the divan for his meetings with the Sublime Porte, barracks for the Janissaries, and the Sultan's personal residence. So let me just go back. So there's the harem, there's the divan, there's a barracks, and there's the Sultan's personal residence. But the tastes of some sultans were notoriously fickle, and for a brief period near the end of his reign, Sultan Bayezid II temporarily relocated himself to Edirne to the north, giving our beloved assassins a bit more leeway to wander the palace grounds without attracting too much attention. Except that we, in the game, are in a restricted area, but there aren't very many guards. Alright, so that's the Topkapi Palace in game. Let's go to Wikipedia and see what that has to say about it. Topkapi Palace. Topkapi is a palace. Togepi is a Pokemon, so don't get confused. Topkapi is the palace. And let's get some pictures going on here, and maybe we should go to Google Maps and like get an aerial view of the place. Here we go. So there's the Palace Museum. So as you can see, it's at the very end of the peninsula there. It's quite big too. Alright, so Hagia Sophia is right there. So we are actually sitting right there in game. So if we go back to the game, there's the Hagia Sophia back there. There's the gate underneath us, and we are looking that way. So that's the location is pretty correct. What else do we see? So there's like open grass areas, and then there's this structure there, 2 courtyards, main building there, and then there's like more courtyards and buildings around here. Let me just have a look. So the open area is not quite as big as it should be. 2 courtyards? Let's run over there and have a look at the 2 courtyards. Okay, this is gonna... Wow, I'm fine. Amazing. Let's run over there and have a look at the 2 courtyards. Hopefully not run into any guards along the way. There appears to be a few missing buildings that way. I guess that's alright. Yeah, so the palace in game seems to be quite a bit smaller than the one in real life. Oh no! Okay, so the buildings that are there in real life, they've just jammed against this building here because they don't have enough space for it. So, okay, that's a bit odd. It's like the wrong direction and the wrong shape. Actually, no, that's this, isn't it? They've just missed out this completely. Yeah, so the grounds is smaller in the game, and so they couldn't fit all the buildings in. Although they've made this courtyard massive. Is this full size? It's possible that this courtyard is full size. Let me run over and just check if there is in fact two courtyards, or if they just kind of chopped one off and just have only one courtyard. So the one courtyard there, and then more of these buildings in here. Right, so this is like, I think this is supposed to be the main palace, like the main buildings. And then... oh, here we go. So there's a courtyard there, and there's a courtyard here. I see. The proportions seem different. This is a rectangle in this direction. Let me just... huh. It seems too thin in the game. But they're roughly correct. They're roughly correct, the buildings. Let me go over there a little bit. There's a series of domes. Oh, there they are. There's a series of domes on the opposite building in that direction. You can see them there. Alright, well this is a fairly accurate recreation of the palace. The direction's wrong. Yeah, you see how the actual building is like that big, right? It's that big. And then the grounds are that big. Whereas if you look at the Google Maps, you know, the grounds are in fact that big, and the palace is only that big. So they've scaled down the grounds, but I think they've kept the main building the right size. I'm not sure. Alright, so let's go into Wikipedia and see what that has to say. That's what it looks like in real life. Significantly more intricate than the one in game. I think they did scale it down. Yeah, I think they did scale it down because this seems much more intricate. Alright, well, you see the decorations. Extremely lavish. Extremely lavish. Holy cow, that is a good looking room. Well, the Sultan is a powerful and rich man. Look at those chairs. This is look at that room. This is a very lavish palace. Alright, well let's come to here. And let's see what Wikipedia has to say. The Topkapi Palace is a large palace in Istanbul, Turkey that was the primary residence of the Ottoman sultans for approximately 400 years of their 624-year reign. As well as a royal residence, the palace was a setting for state occasions and royal entertainments. It is now a major tourist attraction and contains important holy relics of the Muslim world, including Muhammad's cloak and sword. Why would they be there? The Topkapi Palace is among the monuments contained within the historic areas of Istanbul, which became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1985, and is described under UNESCO's Criterion 4 as the best examples of ensembles of palaces of the Ottoman period. Yeah, I don't doubt it. The palace complex consists of 4 main courtyards and many smaller buildings. At its peak, the palace was home to as many as 4,000 people and covered a large area with a long shoreline. It contained mosques, a hospital, bakeries, and a mint. A mint as in minting coins, so they make the coins here. Construction began in 1459, ordered by Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Byzantine Constantinople. It was originally called the New Palace to distinguish it from the previous residence. It received the name Topkapi Cannon Gate in the 19th century after a now lost gate and shore pavilion. Oh, that sucks. The complex was expanded over. Wait a minute, it's only called Topkapi in the 19th century. So calling it a Topkapi in the game is completely wrong, apparently. Because there's no cannon gate. There's no cannon gate in the game. The complex was expanded over the centuries with major renovations after the 1509 earthquake and the 1665 fire. After the 17th century, the Topkapi Palace gradually lost its importance as the sultans preferred to spend more time in their new palaces along the Bosphorus. In 1856, Sultan Abdul Mesid I decided to move the court to the newly built Dolmabahce Palace, the first European-style palace in the city. Some functions such as the imperial treasury, the library, and the mint were retained in the Topkapi Palace. Following the end of the Ottoman Empire in 1923, Topkapi Palace was transformed by a government decree dated April 3, 1924 into a museum of the imperial era. The palace complex has hundreds of rooms and chambers, but only the most important are accessible to the public today. The complex is guarded by officials of the ministry as well as armed guards of the Turkish military. The palace includes many fine examples of Ottoman architecture and it contains large collections of porcelain, robes, weapons, shields, armor, Ottoman miniatures, Islamic calligraphic manuscripts, and murals, as well as a display of Ottoman treasures and jewelry. Basically, a lot of loot. Real-life loot. History site. The palace complex is located on the Seraglio Point, a promontory overlooking the Golden Horn and the Sea of Marmara. Oh no, it's a model. With a good view of the Bosphorus from many points of the palace. The site is hilly and one of the highest points close to the sea. During Greek and Byzantine times, the Acropolis of the ancient Greek city of Byzantium stood here. There is an underground Byzantine cistern located in the second courtyard which was used throughout Ottoman times, as well as remains of a small church, the so-called Palace Basilica on the Acropolis, which have been excavated in modern times. The nearby church of the Hagia Irene, though located in the first courtyard, is not considered part of the old Byzantine Acropolis. There's a model. Interesting. Alright. After the Ottoman conquest in 1453, Sultan Mehmed II found the Imperial Byzantine Great Palace of Constantinople largely in ruins. The Ottoman court initially set itself up in the old palace, today the site of Istanbul University. The Sultan then searched for a better location and chose the old Byzantine Acropolis, ordering the construction of a new palace in 1459. Sultan Mehmed established the basic layout of the palace. He used the highest point of the promontory for his private chambers and innermost buildings. Various buildings and pavilions surrounded the innermost core and grew down the promontory towards the shore of the Bosphorus. The whole complex was surrounded by high walls, some of which date back to the Byzantine Acropolis. This basic layout governed the pattern of future renovations and extensions, according to an account of the contemporary historian Christobulus of Imbros. The Sultan also took care to summon the very best workmen from everywhere, masons and stonecutters and carpenters, for he was constructing great edifices which were to be worth seeing, and should in every respect vie with the greatest and best of the past. For this reason he needed to give them the most careful oversight as to workmen and materials of many kinds and the best quality. He also was concerned with the very many and great expenses and outlays. Alright, well, he personally directed the construction of the palace. Let me just look at this again. He chose the highest point for his private quarters, and in various buildings and pavilions surrounded the innermost core and grew down the promontory towards the shore of the Bosphorus. Let me just go to the game. I'm not sure if this is going to be accurate in the game. So his private... The highest point his private quarters? I'm not sure what that means. And then the rest of it grew downwards towards the water. Does this mean that this here is the private quarters? Does it mean that because when we met Prince Suleiman, we met him on a balcony, not here. So the courtyards were in front of the private quarters. So the private quarters must be back there. This is odd. Because the other courtyards and other buildings, this might not be correct. I mean, this might not be very accurate. I can't tell what it means. Unless that there. So the harem or the harem would usually have like latticed windows so people can't see inside, because apparently the women live in secret. Nobody's allowed to look at the woman. So maybe this is... Actually, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, the latticed windows usually indicate the harem. I don't know. Alright, well, hopefully there's gonna be... Oh, wait, here we go. Hopefully there's diagrams in the article here. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like there's that many diagrams. Actually. Alright, well let's go back and... Alright, let's go look at these diagrams. So there's the... Okay. This is not all that useful. So there's the courtyard there, we're looking the other way. So north is like this way. So there's the first courtyard, there's a second courtyard. And then this thing is this area here, I believe. Yeah, it is, alright. What a strange way to arrange this. Look how many rooms there are. Okay, the palace in game has to be scaled down. It can't be full scale, like you can't fit this many rooms in the thing that we see in game, so yeah, the rooms or the building in the game is definitely scaled down. So what are we looking at? Carriage gate. What is... I can barely see this. 50 with 70, 71? What are those? Sitting room of the Sultan, raised area for dining, bedroom, prayer room, Sultan's bath, Sultan's hall. Alright, so the Sultan's residence is around here, I believe. Man, this is a big building. This is a massive building. What are these? 26, 27, 28, 29. Kitchens, okay. Kitchen for the woman, kitchen for the gatekeepers, kitchen for the different, kitchen for the... They all have different kitchens. That seems a bit inefficient, but every class of persons have a different kitchen. So those things there are kitchens. And the Sultan's quarters, so this must be one of the courtyards. So the Sultan quarters are supposedly underneath us right here. Underneath us here, kind of. Oops. Underneath... Alright, there's that courtyard there, and so we're standing right here, so yeah. The Sultan's quarters are supposed to be right here. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't this where we met Suleiman earlier in the game? Or is it? Oh, maybe the game was correct. in... Oh, yeah, we met Suleiman there. Okay, so this part is the the Sultan's residence. Okay, I see. And then courtyards in front and all that. Okay, I see. Alright. So, accounts differ as to when construction of the inner core of the palace started and was finished. Christophilus gives the dates 1459 to 1465. Other sources suggest a finishing date in the late 1460s. Oh, that's pretty close. Unlike some other royal residences that had strict master plans, such as Schönbrunn Palace and the Palace of Versailles, Schönbrunn? I don't know how to say that. Or the Palace of Versailles, Topkapi Palace developed over the course of centuries, with sultans adding and changing various structures and elements. The resulting asymmetry is the result of this erratic growth and change over time. Although the main layout by Mehmed II was preserved, most of the changes occurred during the reign of Sultan Suleiman from 1520 to 1560. With the rapid expansion of the Ottoman Empire, Suleiman wanted its growing power and glory to be reflected in his residence, and new buildings were constructed or enlarged. The chief architect in this period was the Persian Alauddin, who also known as Ekim Ali. He was also responsible for the expansion of the harem. In 1574, a great fire destroyed the kitchens. Sinan was entrusted by Sultan Selim II to rebuild the destroyed parts, which he did, expanding them as well as the harem, baths, the privy chamber, the various shoreline pavilions. By the end of the 16th century, the palace had acquired its present appearance. Okay, so the one we see in game is not accurate, in the sense that what we see in game is basically what exists today. But this was built in the 16th century. Like the kitchens were rebuilt in the 16th century, so a lot of this stuff is not supposed to be in the game yet. The palace is an extensive complex rather than a single monolithic structure, with an assortment of low buildings constructed around courtyards, interconnected with galleries and passages. Few of the buildings exceed 2 stories. Interspersed are trees, gardens, and water fountains to give a refreshing feeling to the inhabitants and to provide places to rest. The buildings enclose the courtyards and life revolved around them. Doors and windows face the courtyard to create an open atmosphere and provide cool air during hot summers. The palace compound, seen from above, is a rough rectangle divided into 4 main courtyards in the harem. The main axis is from south to north, the outermost first courtyard starting at the south, with each successive courtyard leading north. Wait a minute. 4 courtyards? So that's the first one, and there's a gate there leading into the first courtyard. This is the second courtyard. How are there 4 courtyards? Or the innermost fourth courtyard. Wait a minute. The first courtyard was the most accessible one, while the innermost 4th courtyard and the harem were the most inaccessible, being the sole private domain of the Sultan. The 5th courtyard was in reality the outermost rim of the palace grounds bordering the sea. Okay. Access to these courtyards was restricted by high walls and controlled with gates. Apart from the 4 to 5 main courtyards, various other small and mid-sized courtyards exist throughout the complex. The total size of the complex varies from around 592.6 thousand square meters to 700,000 square meters, depending on which parts are counted. Depending on which parts are counted, really? Can we zoom in here? Okay, there's courtyard, 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 and courtyard. Kind of. It's not supposed to be right next to the wall there. Okay. The southern and western sides border the large former Imperial Flower Park, today Gahani Park. Surrounding the palace compound on the southern and eastern side is the Sea of Marmara. Various related buildings such as small summer palaces, pavilions, kiosks, and other structures for royal pleasures and functions formerly existed at the shore in an area known as the Fifth Place, but have disappeared over time due to neglect and the construction of the shoreline railroad in the 19th century. The last remaining seashore structure that still exists today is the Basket Maker's Kiosk, constructed in 1592 by Sultan Murad III. The total area of Topkapi Palace was in fact much larger than what it is today. Okay, well, that's interesting to know. So, oh, there we go. So there's the road. What is this? A road and there's a railroad apparently. I think you can see it. Oh, there's the railroad there. There's a road. Okay, so I think what they mean is originally the palace was the whole peninsula up to the water, but they've built a bunch of stuff on the boundaries of it. There's a road and there's a train track as well. You can see the train track there going around the palace. So that's kind of cut into the it's cut into the size of the palace a little bit. Can't zoom in anymore. I'm guessing the city walls around the edge are not there in real life anymore. In fact, I don't think they were ever there. Maybe they were never there in real life. Because in the game, there's a massive wall around the coastline. Don't know if that's a thing. Function: the Topkapi Palace was the main residence of the Sultan and his court. It was initially the seat of government as well as the imperial residence. Even though access was strictly regulated, inhabitants of the palace rarely had to venture out, since the palace functioned almost as an autonomous entity, a city within a city. Audience and consultation chambers and areas served for the political workings of the empire. For the residents and visitors, the palace had its own water supply through underground cisterns, and the great kitchens provided for nourishment on a daily basis. Dormitories, gardens, libraries, schools, even mosques were at the service of the court. Attached to the palace were diverse imperial societies of artists and craftsmen, collectively called the El-Iherif, Community of the Talented, which produced some of the finest work in the whole empire. A strict ceremonial codified daily life ensured imperial seclusion from the rest of the world. One of the central tenets was the observation of silence in the inner courtyards. The principle of imperial seclusion is a tradition that was probably continued from the Byzantine court. It was codified by Mehmed II in 1477 and 1481 in the Kanunami Code, which regulated the rank order of court officials, the administrative hierarchy, and protocol matters. It seems really, really complicated. This principle of increased seclusion over time was reflected in the construction style and arrangements of various halls and buildings. The architects had to ensure that even within the palace, the Sultan and his family could enjoy a maximum of privacy and discretion, making use of grilled windows and building secret passageways. It just seems far too complicated. The Imperial Gate. The main street leading to the palace is the Byzantine processional Mese Avenue. Today, Divan Yolo, Divine Yolu, Street of the Council. The Mese was used for imperial processions during the Byzantine and Ottoman era. It leads directly to the Hagia Sophia and makes a turn northwest towards the Palace Square, where the landmark fountain of Ahmed III stands. The Sultan would enter the palace through the Imperial Gate, also known as Gate of the Sultan, located to the south of the palace. This massive gate, originally dating from 1478, is now covered in 19th century marble. Alright, I was going to say that the gate in game doesn't look anything like that, but I guess that was changed in the 19th century. The massiveness of the stone gate accentuates its defensive character. Its central arch leads to a high domed passage. Gilded Ottoman calligraphy adorns the structure at the top, with verses from the Quran and Tokaras of the sultans. Identified Tokaras are of Sultan Mehmed II and Abdulaziz I, who renovated the gate. One of the inscriptions at the gate proclaims, By the grace of God and by his approval, the foundations of this auspicious castle were laid, and its parts were solidly joined together to strengthen peace and tranquility. This blessed castle, with the aim of ensuring safety of Allah's support, and the consent of the son of Sultan Mehmed, son of Sultan Murad, Sultan of the land and ruler of the seas, the shadow of Allah on the people and demons, God's deputy in the east and west, the hero of water and soil, the conqueror of Constantinople and the father of its conquest, Sultan Mehmed Khan, may Allah make eternal his empire and exalt his residence above the most lucid stars of the firmament. Yes. On each side of the hall are rooms for the guard. The gate was open from morning prayer until the last evening prayer. According to old documents, there was a wooden apartment above the gate area until the second half of the 19th century. It was used first as a pavilion by Mehmed, later as a depository for the properties of those who died inside the palace without heirs, and eventually as the receiving department of the treasury. It was also used as a vantage point for the ladies of the harem on special occasions. That must have been a massive apartment, if it could do all those things. Now, the Imperial Gate is the main entrance into the first courtyard. The 4 courtyards lead into each other, and during the Ottoman Empire, each became steadily more exclusive, leading to the 4th courtyard, which was the Sultan's private courtyard. Spans? Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I did get it wrong. Okay, I got it wrong. This is not the first courtyard, this is the second courtyard. The first courtyard is in fact outside of it. It's the area between the main gate and this. So apparently I got that wrong completely. So this is the second courtyard? Because the first is in fact this thing here, out here, is the first courtyard? I don't know, maybe. So that's second, and then third, and then fourth is the one behind. Let's try and figure out where the 4th courtyard is. So what do you call these things inside here then? I don't know. Alright, so the 3rd courtyard apparently is the one over there, and then what, this is the 4th? No, this can't be right, because this is just the gates. It's just, this is the... I don't know. I don't know where the 4th is supposed to be. They need a map. I know they have a map. They need a better map. Alright, 5. What is that? What does that say? 4, 3, 4, 5. A is first courtyard, 3 is second courtyard. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so the first courtyard is outside here. Second courtyard. 38 is the 3rd courtyard. So, where is the 4th? 66? 75? What's 66? 4th courtyard, Tulip Garden. Okay, apparently the 4th courtyard is this one. What's 75? 75 is Garden of the 4th courtyard, below northwest of the Marble Terrace. Okay, so the 4th courtyard apparently is that thing at the end here. Here. That's the 4th courtyard, apparently. I don't know how it counts as a courtyard, it's more like a balcony, right? Alright. Stop doing that. I want you to jump across. Alright, so the Sultan's private residence is back here. Apparently. Doesn't seem consistent with the stuff we looked at earlier. Why is this guy up here? Why is he up here? Oh, he's an assassin. He's got a knife on him. He's gonna knife me if I'm not careful. Let me... Knives. Can I not... I can't target him neither. Yeah, because he's supposed to be trying to kill me. Oh well. He can try. I've got all sorts of weapons. Okay, let's ignore him. Go back to reading. The first courtyard spans Seraglio Point and is surrounded by high walls. This first courtyard functioned as an outer precinct or park and is the largest of all the courtyards of the palace. The steep slopes leading towards the sea had already been terraced under Byzantine rule. The first courtyard contained purely functional structures and some royal ones, many of which don't exist today. Oh, that sucks. The structures that remain are the former imperial mint, the Church of Hagia Irene, and various fountains. The Byzantine Church of Hagia Irene was never destroyed by the conquering Ottomans and survived by being used as a storehouse and imperial armory. Funny. This court was also known as the Court of the Janissaries or Parade Court. Visitors entering the palace would follow the path towards the Gate of Salutation and the second courtyard of the palace. Court officials and Janissaries would line the path dressed in their best garb and waiting. Visitors had to dismount from the horse between the first and second courtyard. Okay, so let's open Hagia Irene because we might as well look at that as well. It's part of the palace grounds. In fact, let's go back out there. So we're gonna follow the Wikipedia article from the outside to the inside. So let's go back out to the first courtyard, and then we'll walk our way in. Oh crap! I don't really want to go down here. Alright, we're coming down here. Let's try not to get attacked by too many guards. Alright, so the first courtyard is out here. There's the gate to the city, which is not as impressive as it should be. There's Hagia Irene there. Let me just come back to the gate and have a look at this. I guess the gate is pretty wide. It's probably not full size. Yeah, it's not full size. The shape of it is mostly correct. So then this is the outer courtyard. Not quite as big as it should be. You are allowed to ride your horse until you get to the Gate of Salutations, and you have to get off your horse here. Alright. The large gate of... Actually, that's what it looks like. That's how big people are. Let me just have a look at how big the people are. The people are that big. If I stand... We can estimate how much this... It's about half size, isn't it? Look at that. My height is half that column, whereas that person and that person is a third. Honestly, it's not half. It's about 2/3 of full size, maybe? Possibly 2/3 full size? So imagine this thing 50% bigger, and that's how big it should be in real life. So that tower should be much taller, right? And that should be 50% bigger. Yeah, so try to imagine this thing 50% bigger, and that's how it should be. Okay.